So, hey, how's everybody doing today? So, like I said in my first video, new to this, and I want to start my own Manchester United fan channel. So, this is actually my second video, and um, I think I want to talk about I want to give the ratings to the Chelsea game. I mean, players did a pretty good job. So I'm just gonna do for this video, just gonna rate the players on a scale of 1 to 10 on their performance in the Chelsea game. So David De Gea, it looks like he's actually back to his best. Coming down to the end of the last season, he really didn't perform that well. He had a few mistakes or whatever, and he just wasn't looking like himself. But the first game of the season against Chelsea, he actually did look pretty good. Like, he's back to his bench. He looked confident, the David De Gea that we all know. So I'd give him an 8. Aaron Wan-Bissaka, I think he's everything that we expected from AWB. His tackling, he tackles like so good. He wins the ball. He times his challenges to perfection. So I'd actually give him a 9 because, he did a good job going forward also. And the one thing that I like about him is the fact that he doesn't panic on the ball and he doesn't turn the ball over. A lot of times when he has the ball, he would hold it and wait for the midfielder to drop in, and he would play it off to the midfielder or pass it back to the center back or put it up the wing. So, he doesn't panic and he doesn't turn the ball over, so he's pretty good on the ball, besides being able to tackle as good as he does. So, I'd give him a 9. Harry Maguire had a near-perfect performance. Not a whole lot, not any mistakes that I can tell. And he didn't really have a whole lot to do because Tammy Abraham, he's not, I don't think he has the size. I think he's a pretty decent striker, but I don't think he has the size to really trouble two defenders like Lindelof and Maguire. I don't think he has the size to trouble them. So Maguire, he won everything in the air. He was calm on the ball, playing it into the midfield. And he intercepted a whole lot of passes and stuff. When Chelsea tried to play down through the channel, he intercepted a lot of passes. So he had a really good job. He did a really good job. So I'd give him a 9. Lindelof, he looked a whole lot better having Harry Maguire next to him instead of somebody like Smalling or Jones. With Smalling, I don't think Smalling is that bad of a defender. He gets a lot of stick, but if you judge him based on defending only, he's not a bad defender. He's just not that great on the ball. And today a lot of teams, they want to have that ball playing center back, and Chris Smalling is not a ball playing center back, but he's actually a good defender. So I'd keep him around as a backup. But Lindelof looked really good next to Harry Maguire. And I would give Lindelof an 8. Luke Shaw, I've seen where Luke Shaw gets a lot of stick from Manchester United fans. And maybe he doesn't go forward and attack as much as we would like him to. I remember before he broke his leg against PSV, he was one of our best players before he broke his leg, and he attacked, got to the byline, got crosses into the middle. And he still does it, but not as often, because last season, the first game of the season when we played Leicester, he actually scored by getting into the box or whatever. So he gets a lot of stick for not doing that, and he doesn't do it as often as he should. But He's not as bad as people say he is. He makes good passes. He doesn't turn over the ball. Sometimes he might get caught out of position, but he always gets back. He's quick, and he he actually became a better defender while Jose Mourinho was managing Manchester United. He improved defensively a whole lot. So, I mean, he does get a lot of stick for not going forward, but he's definitely not as terrible as people try to make him out to be. So, I'll give him a 7. McTominay, like I said in my first video, he, like, when he played for Mourinho, like, he had a specific job, and he did that job. He did his job well, but you didn't really see much from him. He did what he was asked to do, but the other side of the game that we're now seeing under Ole, we didn't see it under Mourinho, and he has added a whole lot to his game, or it's probably a part of his game that he already had, but like I said, he just didn't show it because of the way that Mourinho wanted him to play. So, I mean, he's actually starting to look pretty decent. He does have a good pass on him, long and short. He plays simple, and sometimes, simple is just the easier way to go. So, he has a lot of energy. He runs, he tackles well. He has improved a whole lot. So, I would much rather see him on the field than Nemanja Matic. So I'd give him McTominay an 8. Pogba, in the first half he lost the ball a lot. He was trying like little tricks and stuff, and he did lose the ball a whole lot. But in the second half he stepped up his game. He played pretty decent, and he had those 2 assists. And some of the stuff that Pogba does on the pitch, you don't see a lot of midfielders doing the stuff that he does. So in my opinion, and I could be wrong, but it's my opinion, that he is the best central midfielder in the world. And if we do lose him, it's going to be a huge loss for Manchester United. So for the fact that he really didn't play that well in the first half, but he stepped up in the second half, I'd give Pogba an 8. Andreas Pereira, he didn't have a great game. He did not. But he did come up with a big assist for Martial's goal, the second goal of the game. He played a huge part in that game, but overall, on the ball, he really didn't perform that well. But, so, I mean, I'd give him a 6. He came up with a pretty good assist. Lingard, that's another player. Jesse, he gets a lot of stick. People say he's not a Manchester United player. He's not that good or whatever. He may not be the type of number 10 or type of player that, the creative, skillful player. But what he does on the ball is actually, pretty good, and it's what we need. He can pick that ball up in the midfield and carry it past a whole lot of defenders or whatever. There was one point in the Chelsea game where he picked the ball up and started running past the midfielders or whatever, and Jorginho, committed a professional foul and stopped him, because that was probably going to be the only way to stop him, because he is pretty good at picking that ball up and driving, through the midfield with it. And Lingard had a pretty good game. He did. And like I said, he gets a lot of stick, but yeah, if you look at what he does on the pitch or whatever, like I said, he may not be the type of number 10 that, will dribble and pick passes or whatever, but the stuff he does is actually very effective. So I'd give him an 8. Rashford did not really have a good game. He is really frustrating because a lot of times, Some of the shots that he takes from outside the box is like, why would you do that? Why would you take that shot from 30 yards outside the box, all the way on the left or the right or wherever you might be at the time? Why would you take that shot? And it's so frustrating because the percentage of that shot going in is not really high. But then he turns around and does something like the first touch he had for the goal, and the finish was like world class. So he does have the ability to do world class stuff, but you know, if he can like get the other stuff out of his game, then he'd be world class. Um, so the fact that he didn't really play that well, but he did score the penalty, which was a world class penalty also. I'd give him an 8. Martial. Playing as a number 9, you can see the difference between him and Lukaku. Lukaku's first touch is like non-existent, and Martial's first touch, I mean, he controlled the game. He brought the midfielders, Pogba, Lingard, Pereira, Rashford. He brought everybody else into the game. He held up the ball well. He did a very good all around forward play, forward performance. He did very well, and I'm actually looking forward to seeing him playing in that number 9 position, which he got his number 9 back. I'm looking forward to seeing him play that, a whole lot this season, because imagine Martial in a one-on-one situation with a defender, running at a defender in a one-on-one situation. I think 9 times out of 10 he's going to get past that defender and get a good shot off. And I think he's our best finisher. He's very clinical. So I'm looking forward to seeing him playing in that number 9 position. We had Greenwood came off the bench. Greenwood, he looked pretty good. Martial, I'd give Martial a 8 for his performance. Greenwood looked pretty good when he came on, and we've seen it all preseason. We've seen what he can do, and when he came on, he looked pretty good. He looked confident. For a 17-year-old, he looked really confident. So, I'd give him a 7 since, he wasn't really on the pitch that long. But, when he was on there, the stuff he was doing on the ball. I think one time he picked up the ball and dribbled like 2 or 3 defenders and then, knocked it around a bit. And he looked pretty good. So, I'm looking forward to seeing him getting more minutes and playing a whole lot more. And I need to mention Gomez, because even though he didn't play, watching him on preseason, he looks like, he'd be the perfect number 10. Since we play with a 4-2-3-1 system, which involves a number 10, Gomez looks like he would fit in. I mean, his touch is great. He dribbles well, and he has a good eye, and he passes the ball pretty good also. So I think, judging from what I've seen, he'd be the perfect number 10. So I just wanted to mention that. Mata, he didn't do a whole lot, but, at the end of the game, we kept the ball and we were just knocking it around. Chelsea, I mean, they were done. So Mata, I'd give him a 6. Yeah, who else came on? How can I forget Daniel James? James, he looks like he'd be like the perfect impact sub. 7 last 20 minutes of the game, bring him on to run against like tired defenders. I think he's gonna do a pretty good job, and he did. I mean, one time he picked up the ball on the right, and just blew by whatever. I forgot who was. I think it was Emerson. He went by Emerson, got the Corsten, and then the other time he got the ball and tried to get around N'Golo Kante, and Kante tripped him up, and so coming on like in the later stages of a game, I think he's gonna cause a whole lot of problems. His pace is unreal, but the only thing that I've seen, especially in the preseason, is that he can improve his final pass. In the final third, his or his final ball. That's the only thing that I think he needs to improve. But I think he's 21 and he's been playing in the championship. This is his first time playing in the Premier League, so I think he would definitely improve. So looking forward to seeing him play a whole lot more. So, and he got his first goal, and the way he celebrated, you can tell that he's thrilled to be a Manchester United fan, and it meant so much to him. And then he paid a tribute to his dad because his dad passed away right before he joined Manchester United. So, the way he celebrated, it kind of, you can tell how much it meant to him, and how much it meant to the fans, because I've seen a lot of posts on Instagram, talking about the way he celebrated. So I know that meant a lot to us Manchester United fans. So I'd give him a 7. Alright, so that should be it for today. So like and subscribe.